Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jason Frausto for TennisUnleashed.net, and welcome to part 2 of our 3D analysis breakdown between Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal from the 2019 French Open semifinals. In this video, we're going to look at Roger Federer's first serve return position, and we're also going to look at how he attacked the net and if he came forward the right way or not. Some things that he might have done that you can also learn from in your own game. So if you're interested in seeing this analysis, make sure you stay tuned because it's coming up next. All right, so let's pay attention to Federer's first serve return position in this particular point. This is our first 3D analysis point, and we're going to take a close look at it. So we got Nadal here on the far side and Federer on the near side getting ready to return. The first thing we notice is Federer does get this position inside the court to return first serve. This is not something that you typically see people do, especially men, against other male players on their first serve. They usually don't return from inside the baseline in zone 3 to hit first serve returns, because they usually don't have enough time to react to the ball. Now, Federer did this 17 total times in the match, but he won only 18% of those points. And if we look at Federer's numbers when he returned in zone 4 behind the baseline, he actually won 41% of those points when returning from behind the baseline against Nadal's first serve. And you kind of might say, well, why even bother doing this? Why, mix up your return positions? Well, his thought process, I'm assuming, was to take some time away from Nadal, right? To mix up Nadal's rhythm, keep him on his toes a bit. But in this particular scenario, doing this 17 times, he only won 3 points with this tactic. So maybe not the best choice in this match against this opponent. Let's step forward now within the point. Let's see what happens. You can see in this point, Federer does a very good job, despite that tough return position, of hitting a small target, cross court, and putting Nadal in a position where Nadal is really stretched and really reaching for the ball. So Nadal's in a purely defensive position. If Federer wanted to move forward right now and come into volley, this would be a really good opportunity to do so. Let's see what happens. Nadal is going to try to probably pop the ball up and over, trying to establish some type of depth so Federer doesn't get to come in, but we'll see what happens here. Federer moves around. Nadal is unable to get that ball deep. Federer has plenty of time to hit the forehand. A couple of interesting things here, though. You can tell by Federer's body positions, particularly the hips right now, how open this hip is, the right hip, that he's going to take this ball down the line. I highly doubt with this shot that he's going to take this ball cross court here, but it looks like he's going down the line. Let's see what actually happens with this. He does go down the line and approaches Nadal's backhand, so let's watch it again. Hooks it above his head. A couple of problems that seem to arise in this situation, and this is something that affected Federer throughout the match when he was attacking Nadal. When he came forward against Nadal, a lot of the attacking shots he hit landed short. Like this one here is in zone 1, right? So by the time that gets to Nadal, it's not pushing Nadal back. Nadal has plenty of time to react and set up for a passing shot potentially. So again, lands short in zone 1. And then the other issue with this approach shot is you're not damaging Nadal. You're taking him off the court, which sounds good in theory, but what you're really doing is you're just opening up these angles for him. You're opening up this pass here. You're opening up a potential pass over here. So if you're not doing damage to someone, this is something that everyone can work on, pros all the way down to juniors and adults as well. But don't open up angles for people who pass well if you're not hurting them. So you got to make sure that Nadal in this position is hunched over. He looks balanced. He doesn't look hurt in this situation. Let's see what happens as Nadal tries to go for the pass. He hooks it cross court, hits a small target, and he's excited about the point after that shot. So let's just look at this point one more time, and we can get an idea of where things kind of fell apart a little bit here for Roger. So he moves inside the court, does a really good job taking this early, hits a small target, puts Nadal in a lot of trouble. He could have maybe snuck in right here. His concern would probably be that Nadal was going to hit the ball low at his feet from this position, but he could have snuck in, steps around to hit the forehand. You can see that when Federer is going to, take this forehand down the line right here, Nadal is actually already leaning this way. So Nadal is anticipating and seeing Federer's body cues, his body position, the position of the hips, where he thinks the shot's going. And from there, he's actually already leaning and going in this direction, right? So he goes there. Federer hits the ball short, takes Nadal off the court, which opens up all these angles. And that means Federer has to cover a really large chunk of court over on this side, which is not something you want to have to do against a really good passer. And then Nadal zips that pass across court, hits a small target, and ends the point right there. And that's a huge momentum shift too. It's 4-3 in the second set and it's 30-all. Things like that take a toll mentally during the course of a match, and it really can't be underestimated. You can't put something in the score line as to how valuable something like that is at that moment in a match. You know, if Federer gets that approach shot deeper, you know, maybe he damages Nadal and Nadal isn't able to create that angle for that pass. All right, so let's move on to the next 3D analysis point. Now we have another net-oriented point. Let's see what happens. Similar positions for the server and the returner. Federer, again, takes the ball very early. Very difficult to do on this serve, but takes it early. Let's see what happens. Does some nice damage here, a little bit of damage by creating depth and hitting the ball into zone 3, right? So he's hit the ball into the deepest zone of the court, which means he's probably going to be able to back Nadal up. You can see Nadal on the back foot here. Rafa's on his back foot. He's going to scoop the ball and hit that reverse forehand and really try to lift the ball, right, to create depth with the shot. Let's see if he's able to do that. You can see him still lifting there and finishing well above his head. I know he does that a lot, but in this particular situation, he's doing it to try to create length on his shot. Let's see if he does. He creates decent depth. And what he does, though, gets Federer a little bit off balance here. Roger actually looks a little uncomfortable with this, and he's having to move diagonally back to his right, which means he's in a little bit of a defensive position. He's been damaged just a little bit, right? From that position, we can see that. Federer does a good job here of going down the line and forcing Rafa to his left. But the problem with this shot is you're trying to do damage with him by getting close to the line. He almost hit a small target here. But the issue with this is that we don't have enough depth again. We're at the back of zone 2, which is a little bit better, but we're really not in that zone 3 area like we were on the previous shot, the return of serve, right? So let's look at that again. A little bit shallow, a little short. Nadal moves to it diagonally back left, and this is where Nadal is his most dangerous, right? He's most dangerous working out of the corners of the court. So working out of this area, working out of this area, or even wider out here, that's where he's actually the toughest to play unless you do significant damage. So from here, Nadal looks pretty balanced to me. He's pretty far behind the baseline, but has his balance. And now he has the options to open it up cross court here, go back down the line here, right? And it really looks like the cross is open, though, so that's probably what he's going to take. But Roger opened this up for him by not hitting deep enough and not doing significant damage, right? So let's see what he does. He hooks it cross, hits a really good ball here, cross, small target, and the small target was available because Federer gave him a ball in the wider part of the court, so he can take it from there. Federer moves up to try to cut this off, and Nadal immediately starts to move forward as Nadal sees Federer in this slice backhand position like this. So as soon as Nadal, when he's playing Federer, as soon as Nadal sees positions like this where the racket face is open and he knows it's either going to be a slice or a drop shot, he starts to move back inside the court, anticipating weaker shots, right? And that's smart to do. He's so good at, anticipating and understanding what's going to happen based off what he's done to his opponent. So it's no different here. Let's see what happens. Federer does hit the slice short. We see a big target, and it's a short slice in zone 2. Nadal immediately continues to move up, and from here, you would think that Nadal is going to punish him, but if you look really closely at the situation, you can actually see that Nadal is slightly off balance. So let's zoom in. And what we see is Rafa is reaching for this a little bit. I know it's not the clearest sometimes when we're zoomed in, but you can see that Nadal is reaching for the ball, so he's probably actually not going to deliver damage here because of his balance position. But let's see what happens. He goes cross, and he ends up hitting a short forehand cross, and Federer sets up with really good balance here. Let's see what happens here. And absolutely destroys that backhand, crushed that backhand deep center, right? And he got zone 3, so he got depth again. And when he gets depth, that's when he does the most damage to Nadal. This ball is not on the left side of the court. It's not on the right side of the court. It's in the middle third, and it's deep, and that's what's doing damage to Nadal in this scenario. Not that that's going to work every time, but it definitely worked here. So we see Nadal again on the back foot. He's in that scooping or lifting reverse forehand position, so he's probably going to play this defensively. Let's see. He does scoop it. We see that finish position right here. He scoops it, and it lands really short just beyond zone 1. So we're in zone 2. This gives Federer a really good look at now attacking him, right, and coming in, and we'll see what happens. Federer moves up. Let's see if we can judge where he's going to hit from. By the hip position, this right hip being a little more closed off. After he kind of uncoils, you can see he's going to go cross court here. And Nadal is actually currently leaning this way, but he'll recognize that position. We'll see. There we go. Now, Federer's issue here is the lack of depth again, and this is something that plagued him throughout the match, was a lack of depth when he was attacking Nadal. He just simply wasn't getting balls back here when he was attacking and looking to move forward. He was doing it in some other scenarios. You can see a deep ball here, you can see a deep ball here, but he wasn't getting enough depth when it really mattered in critical situations. Again, this is 4-3. Federer's got a chance to potentially break Nadal's serve if he wins this point and the next point, right? And this is a really critical point, but he hits this approach shot short, and then he ends up getting burned down the line. The other issue with this, besides the depth, is he's coming from the far left side of the court here, right? He's attacking to the right. Granted, he didn't take it way over here, but he's attacking to the right. In this scenario, he either needs to spread this really far over here or hit a straight line right here. He ends up going right here. He obviously cannot cover this entire section of court, right? This is an easy poke pass for Nadal to make from that position. He makes the shot. We get the highlight reel shot. But one thing that you want to make sure that you're not doing as the opponent of someone is setting them up for highlight shots in really big points. 40-40, 4-3, second set. Win this point, you have a break point. Federer set this entire highlight reel shot up for Nadal by, again, not getting that approach shot deep enough and then not taking it in the right area when he actually hit it. He left the entire court open. So, again, don't provide your opponents with highlight material by hitting your approach shots not deep enough or sometimes spreading them out too much to provide too much angle for them. Unfortunately for Roger, that was a critical mistake at a really big moment in the match. So now let's go ahead and let's move on to the final 3D analysis point. And in this situation, we have a point where Federer decides that he's going to serve and volley, which is a good mixer tactic, especially at this position in the match. It's 30-love, 2-2 in the second set, so he's got a cushion, right? Now, the serve is a little bit short, so Nadal ends up moving forward on this. We can see him in an attacking position. From this position, Nadal is in the widest position in the court here, just outside the single sideline. He could take this down the line if he wants. He could take it short cross if he wants. He's moving forward, has really good balance. Or he can also take it at Federer's feet or right at his body. So those are basically his four options from here. Let's see what he does. Kind of drills it with pace, a good mixer. Drills it with pace right at Federer's knees. And this is going to force, because his knees are lower than the height of the net, this is going to force Federer to volley up a little bit. And we'll see if he can handle the pace of the pass. He does volley up, but he floats it a little bit. And he struggles with it. And we can see that Nadal's got plenty of time to set up for this pass here. Now again, Nadal has similar options. He doesn't have as much angle to work with as he did on the return. On the return, he was returning from over here. Now he's passing from a little bit further inside. He has less angle to work with, so he's either going to pass here, right? To create this would be more difficult. He's either going to pass here or he's going to go right at him here. We'll see what happens. He hits a hard pass cross, tons of pace, and then he gets Federer to flub that volley in the net, right? One interesting thing about this match, we've been going through these net points. Federer only won 11 out of 27 net points. So he won about 40% of the points when he came to the net. One of the reasons why, again, not enough length on a lot of the approach shots, taking Nadal too far off the court, but then also Nadal did a good job by combating some of that stuff with taking some balls right at him, or doing a good job of just kind of restraining himself and working within what Federer gave him in certain situations. Like here, he didn't necessarily try to just hit passing shots for winners. He just went, hard pace and then tried to force errors or weak volleys. Nadal did more damage in this match compared to Federer overall, and it showed throughout the course of the points. That super heavy forehand, the heavy spin off of both sides, put Federer in uncomfortable positions more time than Roger was able to put Rafa in uncomfortable positions. And just remember, we're gonna be doing more pro matches with 3D and stats analysis using Dartfish like this. So if you have any comments or questions below, things you saw in the match that we didn't see, make sure you leave them in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this, smash that like and subscribe button. Also turn on the notification bell so when our new videos come up on YouTube, you get those notifications right away. I'm Jason Frausto for tennisunleashed.net, and I'll see you next time.